Is Stellar Blade a game worth playing, or is it just overrated eye candy with no substance? Stellar Blade has made huge waves ever since the demo was released on March, and many people were excited for the game's release on April 26th. Others have also bashed the game for its controversies like having an over-sexualized protagonist, and they've written off the game as an overrated Nier and Bayonetta copycat that lacks actual content. I've spent almost 40 hours to complete the game, and in this video, we're gonna find out if Stellar Blade is worth playing. So let's get some of the controversies out of the way first. So Eve is super over sexualized, like you can tell from all the footage of you watching the trailers or some gameplay. There's some cheeks and voluptuousness, but like I don't really care. Like there's definitely people mad about it, but it's not really that serious. Like it is what it is. Censorship in the game. Now this game is rated M for mature, but a certain demographic of people are very upset about some of the censorship in the game, specifically related to an outfit that adds like a tiny bit extra fabric to a certain area, even though there's other outfits in the game that are way more revealing than the outfit that actually got like an actual change. These motherfuckers are tripping, bro. like it's not that serious, bro. Like you got so many other options, bro. Calm down, dude. It's not that fucking serious. The hard R controversy.
What do you mean by that?
So in the United States, anything involving the hard R in a video game kind of like blows up, you know, because you're not really supposed to say the hard R. But in Stellar Blade in the game, the hard R isn't even like an actual real thing. It's just two graphics on the wall that literally say hard, and then another graphic next to it that says the letter R. So like, this is a reach. this is like, whoever is tripping about this is like, they doing way too much. I think it's funny, like thinking like the hard R controversy is like this serious, but it's really not. But as you can see from my skin tone, I'm not black, so I don't take what you will with my opinion. Now let's get into what's actually important, the game. So when starting the game, you are in outer space, and you are launched into the Earth in a pod with a mission to exterminate the Natiba, which are these gross things that you'll meet in like 5 minutes. And the game just throws you into the action like fucking D-Day, like just balls to the wall, death and chaos everywhere. Once you land, your pod won't open for some reason and you're stuck, but your comrade comes by, rips the door open, and the introduction scene for the character that you'll be playing, the pretty visuals, the explosions in the background, the freaking S-tier music is just nice. And once you exit your pod, you're on the battlefield now, and you're able to control your character. You're gonna learn your controls by attacking low-tier enemies that's just around in front of you. You have your light attack, your heavy attack, special skills, block, parry, dodge, healing, you know, pretty standard stuff for a game like this. The environment is pretty and breathtaking through all the chaotic death and stuff around you back there. You team up with Taki to fight your first boss, and that's just there to teach you the rhythm of the combat pretty much. And then after defeating that boss, you get ambushed by an alpha Natiba. And to save your life, Aki sacrifices herself and becomes a fucking kebab. And that's the introduction of the game.
Jesus Christ.
This intro had me so hyped. I was so ready to play more. Like, the game starting like this with action from the jump instead of like a slow introduction to everything. That's perfect. Like, throw me into the action. This is what I want. Like, get my attention from the jump, throw me into the action. So Eve gets rescued before getting attacked by the Alpha Natiba. And the person that saves Eve is a man named Adam. Adam and Eve. I think I know where this is going. Anyways, Adam, the hero that he is, helps Eve with her mission to exterminate Alpha Natibas. For some reason, yeah, Alpha Natibas, you know, things like this. And the one that you fought first, that one is actually an elite Natiba. The elite one is weaker than the Alpha. And the elite one survived a fucking spaceship crashing into it. So along the journey to complete your mission, you'll be fighting a lot of enemies, and there are plenty of varieties that want the smoke. So you have the minions, which are the general cannon fodder or whatever. You have warriors that are noticeably stronger with more attack variety. And with the ranged ones, do I have to explain what ranged means? Majority of the enemies are uniquely designed with their own moveset, so combat against them won't feel repetitive. There are even surprise attacks throughout the game, so let's say, for example, you'll walk around the map and do your thing, and the moment you pass a corner, you just get fucking, like, bitch slapped out of nowhere. So you definitely have to be on guard throughout most of the game. Another reason why combat won't feel repetitive is because Eve just has so much skills and tools at her disposal. So to start off, she has different exospines that she can collect throughout the world that give her major buffs, and each exospine will give a different buff, and it'll cater to a certain playstyle. Like, for example, if you want extra combo damage for a combo focused build, you can do a stealth focused build, and you can also just add extra defensive stats to Eve if you want as well. There are also gears that give you smaller buffs. For example, like extra attack damage, faster attack speed, and lifesteal. And she has 5 fucking skill trees for all the different things that she can do. So there's the offense skill tree, which are pretty much her combos. So you can slowly upgrade combos as you go through the skill tree, and you can also have stealth executions as well. Your defense skill tree will be focused on your perfect dodging and perfect parrying. And you can also upgrade to where you can have a combo attack after you perfect dodge or perfect parry as well. You have beta skills, and those are uniquely powerful skills that will stun enemies. And you have an AoE one that swings all around you. You have one that focuses on one enemy to give extra damage. You have one that breaks shields specifically, and you have one that is ranged as well. There are burst skills. These are even more powerful skills compared to the beta skills. You have an AoE slash around you that pushes back enemies. You have a slam attack that pushes enemies away. You have an anime blade storm around you looking type of move. And you also have an ability that just increases your attack damage and attack speed. There's Taki mode, which I'll explain why you have Taki mode in the story portion of the game. You're able to use Taki's abilities for a short duration of time. You have enhanced melee range, and you don't take damage in this mode as well. So you also have extra skills. You have front sword swinging skill, you have a Beyblade skill, you have a range, sword swing skill, and you also have an automatic counter as well. And all these 5 skill trees that I just explained doesn't include an additional skill tree for your drone that becomes a gun. So you have long range slugs, you have a fucking laser beam, and you can charge up the laser beam to increase the duration of the laser beam and do extra damage. You have stinger missiles that can lock onto multiple enemies and they track. You have shotgun shells with a large spread, and you have explosive rockets as well. You also have grenades and mines that either deal damage, knock down enemies, damage enemy shields, and damage their balance as well. All of this makes combat feel really engaging and not repetitive because you have so many options at your disposal. The combat has a rhythm that can either help you or hurt you. You can't just button mash your way to victory. You have to act accordingly to what the enemy is doing or you will get punished. The game has Souls-like aspects to it, but it's a lot more forgiving because it's just an action game. There's no like Souls-y part, so if you die, you don't get really punished for it. You don't lose anything. There are like similar things like rest stations, there are like the bonfires, and you also have replenishable potions as well, which are like the flasks in like Dark Souls or whatever. Speaking of the Soulsy stuff, the bosses can be challenging. I played on normal while wearing the nano suits. If you don't wear a nano suit and you just have like the skin suit, that makes the game harder. I didn't want to do all that. I just wanted to enjoy the game, so I just, you know, had the variety of like 70 different suits that I can pick from, which is a crazy amount. And it was fun to play, you know, dress up with me and my girlfriend. We were all just like switching between what outfits that we wanted for that portion of the game that we were playing. So most of the bosses took me a couple of tries to beat. Some were reused in the game, but it's not to the extent where you get tired of seeing them over and over again. And you don't have to worry about the difficulty. They're bosses. They're going to be much more difficult than any other regular enemy, but they're not like Dark Souls, pain for 4 hours level of like boss. All of this sounds great, but I still have some issues with the combat. Using the drum gun feels really stiff. You're only able to walk really slowly when you aim it. It would have been really nice to like run and gun with it, but you're just stuck like a tank aiming at something. I mostly found myself using it at the beginning of a fight to get off some free damage without taking any damage. And in general, the gun just feels underpowered. There was an enemy that I can abuse the gun on, and that was actually a boss. I just kept my distance the whole time and I just unloaded every single ammo type that I had before going in and hitting the boss a couple times. And there are other times where I tried to use this strategy on the boss. I used all of my ammo, and then I come to find out that the boss has an insta-kill mechanic where I needed my slugs to shoot these like charging spots to prevent the insta-kill from happening. But I had no ammo at that point, so I just fucked myself unintentionally. The game's camera can work against you sometimes, especially if you're backed up against a wall or in a small room. And this is especially annoying if you're fighting multiple enemies. And let me tell you about fighting multiple enemies, it just feels awkward to get jumped. Like for example, Eve has moves that can attack around her, but they require you to consume some type of meter, and that meter takes time and effort to build back up. And if you're gonna resort to the drone gun, it only does so much damage, and most of the time an enemy is already trying to get into your face, so you can't even use it effectively anyway. Most of her moveset is catered to one-on-one encounters, and you can't force that all the time. Dealing with ranged and melee enemies at the same time is pretty standard, but in this game, I just feel like I'm Meek Mill getting railed by multiple Diddies. It's just not fair. Also, allegedly, don't fucking sue me, bro.
I hope they forgive me for what I did with Diddy.
Towards the end of the game, in a certain section, the enemies feel like artificially buffed. I've spent most of the game leveling up, getting, you know, gears and exo spines, leveling up my damage, stuff like that. And I noticed I'm noticeably stronger when I return to an area in the beginning of the game. So I feel stronger, I deal more damage, and I notice that. But when I go into this new section, it just feels like all of my progress was like for nothing. It felt like I was back in the beginning of the game, not dealing any damage at all, when these enemies are the same reused enemies from previous portions of the game. I might be tripping, but I swear it felt that way, and I just do not like that type of game design. If I'm gonna spend time leveling up, exploring the maps, and getting stronger, I want to feel that. But if you're gonna take that away from me just because I'm at towards the end of the game to make the game feel like there's a challenge, do something else. I don't like that type of game design at all. When it comes to exploring the world in front of you, it's like semi-open linear. So some parts of the game are linear, other parts of the game are kind of like semi-open world, and there's plenty of areas where you can find loot and open chests, stuff like that. And with some chests, there's a puzzle that you kind of have to do, or like a mini game. And some of them include hitting the direction of the arrow on the D-pad in sequential order. There's the same puzzle or mini game where instead of doing it sequentially, it's like a random spot on the grid. And there's also a reaction time one where if the controller vibrates, you want to hit whatever button it wants you to hit to win the mini game to unlock the chest. There are plenty of things to collect, like gears, exospines, money, crafting materials, nanosuits, and upgrade modules for your health, your skill meter, the amount of flasks that you can hold, and the amount of grenades that you can hold as well. It's pretty easy to find stuff around the map since your drone can scan stuff in a surrounding area. And there's also a decent bit of backtracking due to the amount of side quests that are in the game. And some side quests even open up more areas in a previous portion of the game as well. Exploring the wasteland, looting and fighting wasn't too repetitive to me. I actually really enjoyed my time with everything. It didn't feel like a Ubisoft game where I was just doing a checklist to check off all the busy work that the game gave me. If I wanted to just sit back and relax, I can actually like go fishing. Like you can actually do that in this game, and the mechanic is pretty good, but I didn't feel like doing all that fishing. I wanted to throw hands, I wanted to shoot stuff. The puzzles you bump into around the world are pretty easy. I mean, the game even gives you hints, so it shouldn't be that hard. The only ones I did not like were the math ones, because I didn't feel like doing math, and it took me way too long to figure out the math puzzles, while it only took my girlfriend less than 5 minutes to do it. And she still flames me about it to this day because I'm a failed Asian, but you know what? Whatever. What fucking ever. There's platforming in this game, and it works, but it isn't the best. Sometimes it got pretty much super frustrating because Eve will sometimes want to do her own thing instead of the inputs that I'm pressing. There are also sections of the game where you can only use your drone gun, and it's a really nice mix-up to the regular melee combat, and it gives the drone gun more love, and I appreciate that. I also want to mention that this game ran buttery smooth without any issues. I didn't experience any bugs, I didn't experience any stuttering, even on like the balance like preset. So you have like performance, balance, and like fidelity. I just did balance, and it's really sad that I have to say this, but this game came out in a pretty finished state. Like there was no issues like a lot of other game companies do, where they push out a game that still has glaring issues. But I still have to praise this game for at least doing what should be the bare minimum. When it comes to side quests, they can be pretty predictable, except for a handful of the major ones with an ongoing story relating to some of the side characters that you meet. There are plenty of fetch quests, which makes sense since the Earth is just a barren wasteland, but that doesn't make up for the fact that it's a pretty basic type of quest that happens a little bit too often. There's also a decent bit of find this person type of quest where every single time without fail you find that person's dead body. Now I get it, it's a wasteland, it's hard to survive, but at least change it up. Like I've done probably at least 5 of them where it all ended up being the same, so it was all really predictable. Littered all over the world, there are these little collectibles that you can read that help you get more immersed into the story and the side quests as well. But I didn't really feel like doing all that. One memorable side quest is about a man that wants to help his disabled wife. At the moment, she's just a shell that can sing, and her husband just wants to make her whole again. He asks Eve to help him find someone to fix her up, and when they do, the fixes are very limited due to the lack of components laying around. She's able to talk and remember some things, but her memory is really fuzzy. And to try to give her the ability to walk, he goes out to the wasteland to try to find her some legs, but he almost gets killed by the Naytiba in the area, but we come in just in time to save him. After the husband's safe return to the city thanks to Eve, the husband and the wife are in this intense, heated argument about safety and love and all this other stuff, and it's a great emotional scene. The quest storyline and the plot is great, and that makes it one of the more memorable side quests, but there are some issues with the storytelling in this game.
Enya, so...
Sue.
I'm sorry.
You thought I wanted to walk?
Well...
Of course I do. But...
well...
Walking is meaningless if it means losing you.
As you can see, the voice acting and just the sound design is awful for this scene. This scene was supposed to be super emotional, intense, and impactful, and it was just ruined. Just completely ruined. Now let's get into the main story. The Earth is currently a wasteland with humans struggling to survive, and Eve is sent there on a mission to help them by exterminating the Alpha and Elder Naytiba. Along the beginning of Adam and Eve's journey, they find Lily, a support class from a previous deployment. Adam takes them to the last city on Earth called Zion to talk to the city's Elder because he can help them find all of the Alpha Naytiba and lead them to the Elder Naytiba. He explains that Eve will need a total of 4 Alpha cores to create a Master core, and that Alpha cores can only be retrieved from killing Alpha Naytibas. In return, Oracle needs hypercells to power the city of Zion to reawaken the 10,000 people in stasis to help humanity. He points Eve and her team to the next Alpha Naytiba. When they get there, they find out that the Alpha Naytiba they're looking for is actually a corrupted Taki. To explain how Eve has Taki mode, once we defeat Taki, Lily was able to use Taki's equipment to give us the ability to use Taki mode. After defeating Taki, we find a message left by Raven, who was previously deployed like Lily. Raven says that all the remaining people on Earth are actually androids, and the real humans are the Naytiba that Eve has been fighting this whole time. After coming back to Zion to talk to Oracle, he confirms this, and he explains that humans created this AI called Mother Sphere in outer space. Humanity ordered Mother Sphere to create androids similar to Eve and Lily, and they all lived in peace. But suddenly, Mother Sphere decided to order all androids to kill humans in a genocide to push humanity forward. This war results in humans hiding in underground laboratories, the same ones where we were only able to use our drone gun to accelerate human evolution, resulting in the creation of Naytibas. This news is a shock to Eve and her team. They thought they were humans doing the right thing, but they're actually androids that have been killing the actual humans this whole time. Despite this news, Eve is still determined to end the war by killing the Elder Naytiba. Eve and her team head to the next Alpha Naytiba atop a space elevator. But right when they arrive, Adam gets a distress signal from Zion and heads back, leaving Eve and Lily to pursue the Alpha Naytiba on their own. This Alpha Naytiba is ginormous, and Eve resorts to using all of her body cell power to overcharge the gun drone to take it down while she's falling back to Earth. Since Eve is falling back to Earth, she can't retrieve the Alpha Core and loses it. To try to save Eve, Lily makes a distress signal to save Eve, and an exosuit from the colony that deployed Eve and Lily comes into the rescue. Once Eve is back to Earth, her and Lily speed back to Zion as fast as they can to find that it was attacked by the same Alpha Naytiba from the beginning of the game that actually killed Taki. After defeating the Alpha Naytiba, it turns out to be Raven, the same person that left the message about what's really going on with Mother Sphere. Raven escapes, and Eve focuses on finding Oracle. After seeing Oracle's body, Eve realizes that he is actually a Naytiba. Oracle explains that he is actually the first Alpha Naytiba, a fusion between android and Naytiba. He used to slay many humans in the past, but that all changed when his life was saved by humans. Ever since that moment, he decided to protect humans instead by building Zion. Eve admits that she is missing one Alpha core due to it being lost from the battle in outer space, so Oracle decides to give her his own. Before Oracle passes away, he pleads for Eve to meet the Elder Naytiba. As Eve and Lily head to the nest, they're stopped by Raven. Raven is defeated and she is left disabled to watch Eve and Lily head into the nest. In the nest, they find Adam, and he ends up being the Elder Naytiba Eve has been looking for this entire time. Adam reveals that his true motive was to save humans, but he did so in a way that humans would lose their humanity by becoming Naytibas. For the human race to survive, androids aren't the solution because they can't evolve. Adam offers a solution to Eve to fuse with her. The Elder Naytiba will be no more, helping Eve to complete her mission, and humanity will have a chance to survive, which is all Adam wants. And here we are given a chance to either reject Adam's proposal and stop him, or accept his proposal and fuse with him. If Eve rejects Adam's plan, this decision leads to an epic fight with the Elder Naytiba that ends with Adam's death along with the last hope for humanity's survival. Mother Sphere welcomes Lily and Eve back to the colony for the completed mission. If you fuse with Adam instead, you can create an entirely new type of human being that is part Naytiba and part android. Mother Sphere will then override the exosuit that Lily is in to try to kill Eve. During the battle, the exosuit will detect Lily, an unauthorized user, and kill her inside of it. After the exosuit is destroyed, Mother Sphere will congratulate Eve despite her unexpected fusion with the Elder Naytiba. The Eve protocol is now concluded, and Mother Sphere sends an endless horde of android soldiers to dispose of Eve. There is also a secret ending that can be unlocked if you do two things. Complete Lily's bar by picking up memory sticks, soda cans, and documents, and accept Lily's quest and complete a secret main mission called Secret Garden. This will give Lily a code to hack the exosuit and prevent it from killing her after you fuse with Adam. After the exosuit is defeated, Mother Sphere sends an endless horde of androids to eliminate Eve and Lily. The horde of androids are eliminated, Zion gets the power it needs to revive everyone in stasis, and Eve becomes Zion's new protector. The story in Stellar Blade isn't necessarily a story we haven't seen before because the whole AI versus humanity thing has been going around for a while, but that doesn't make the story bad. I do have issues with the really flat voice acting that persists through most of the game. There are some points in the game where the voice acting is actually really good, especially the end where Adam and Eve go back and forth with, finding out that Adam is actually the Elder Naytiba and stuff like that. I just really wish that level of voice acting was throughout the whole entire game. I did hear that the Korean version of the game sounds a lot more convincing with the voice acting, and I really wish I would have known that and I would have just switched to Korean the whole time. For a lot of the characters, I really wish there was some type of character development for me to care for any of these characters. Even with Lily dying, I didn't have any feelings for her because she was there, but that was it. Like, there wasn't more to it. And with Eve being a really naive character, I get why she's naive. She doesn't really understand Earth because she just got to Earth. And some people have an issue with her naive character, but it makes sense with the story. I didn't have any issues with it. In general, I personally like the story. I just really wish that the voice acting was a lot better and that there was some character development so that I can care about the characters more. So is Stellar Blade worth playing? Well, it has undeniably beautiful graphics, it has really engaging gameplay and combat, it has a good story with multiple endings despite the flat voice acting. The music is S tier. The game has replayability with New Game Plus that adds extra skills in the skill tree, more gear, and more outfits to unlock. An added boss challenge mode to get faster times on boss fights. And despite some of the issues in the game, this game is worth playing. And if you want to find another game that might be worth playing, check out my video on the Resident Evil 4 remake.